Yeah, so it has been shocking to see so many instances of absolute waste, likely corruption, and just sort of out of touch priorities that have been funded by the U.S. taxpayer thanks to USAID. I hate painting with a broad brush because I know there have been some good things that USAID has done, but I think that fundamentally it's been a losing model, that foreign aid funding governments and then making those governments not as beholden to their people has been an absolute mistake. And the top-down nature of foreign aid as administered by USAID and other government aid agencies has fundamentally missed the point that outsiders cannot lead productive change, and that they too often become sources of largesse that make people compete in a political way to siphon those funds off. So, our model it's very interesting to have it in the conversation right now as this alternative that is 100% privately funded. And again, what we do is we look for local leaders who understand why economic freedom and the institutions of liberal democracy, liberal, the kind of the old school definition, not progressive, but those institutions that let people trust one another, do business with one another, that doesn't exist in the way that we often take for granted in the U.S.
Sure.
Those are the fundamental rules of the game that you have to get right. And when you can find local organizations that are committed to fostering that over the long term, and they've got the local knowledge about what is holding up progress in that direction and what's blocking people from being able to enter the formal sector and register their business,
right,
and trade across borders and so on. Like, these are the things that our local partners are able to identify and say, like, that's a change we can make happen, and we're there to find them some funding to help them dream a little bit bigger through exposure to like-minded organizations around the world. And it's really a wonderful kind of flywheel effect where people start to accomplish a little bit. They they get exposure to what groups in other countries are doing, and they take those ideas, and it just kind of builds from there. And it's done, as you said, like private funding, all voluntary, and all in the direction of economic freedom. And I think that's fundamentally different from this idea that most government aid agencies have, where they say, like, we're the saviors, and it's going to be our dollars or our expertise that is going to say,
which is a very top-down approach. What I love about what the Atlas Network does is you empower local organizations and consequently grassroots individuals, locals, if you will, on the ground, natives on the ground, to help solve their own problems. You expose them to the ideas. You don't dictate to them, but you expose them to the ideas and then let them run with the ball, if you will.
Well, one of the nice things that DeRoy included in that is, we've heard that parable forever about, like, well, you're going to give a man a fish, and maybe that's important in an emergency situation, but people then talk about, well, it's better to teach a man to fish.
Absolutely.
And that's true, but I think that that's also paternalistic and really misdiagnoses the problem, as though there's no entrepreneurs on the ground in Nairobi
that don't already know how to fish.
It's like look around. People are doing enterprise work, but in the fishing analogy, but they don't have the laws that would let them create a fishery, to let them start to serve customers all over the place. And if you got those legal institutions right, that the people could thrive there. We sort of believe that there aren't poor people in the world. There's people in poor places. And when they do get to come to the U.S., they learn to drive an Uber, and they thrive, right?